Stephanie. And how are you? How are you? This is a community conversation, and I am your host, Carol McIntosh. I'm also a First Ward City Council candidate, and I'm here with a special guest, Miss Stephanie Rogers.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. And we're going to be navigating this thing on a community conversation this Friday. Every Friday is a good Friday whenever I can be with you. So we want to get this thing kicked off. Like I was telling them on the 1420 side stuff that I am a lifelong resident of the First Ward. I am a 52-year, rolling up on 52 years as a resident in the First Ward and a lifelong resident of Flint. And also, the only candidate that has ever been elected to a public seat in this race. So I think experience matters because we're in a very detrimental place right now in our city. So introduce yourself, Steph. What's up?
Well, I am Stephanie Rogers. I am a resident of Flint, well, Genesee County. We're gonna say that. I am uh, very involved in what's going on with Flint. I was born and raised in Flint. Went to graduated from Central High School. Carol and I have known each other since Whittier.
Mhm. Yeah, since junior
Uh,
high. Yeah.
30 plus years working on 40. So I um, know Carol very well, know her heart, know her intentions. I think she would be a very good asset for the First Ward. She was Eric Mays' pick for the Ethics and Accountability Board. So he entrusted her to carry on his vision in that capacity. And I think that Carol is the best candidate to carry on his vision for the First Ward
Yes.
and
I
be
agree with that,
elected,
Steph.
not look and be elected, not selected.
That's right, because it matters, because you want to be voted for by the people to represent the people. That's always important, and we need to keep that in mind. Um, and I am dedicated to continuing his fight because the first thing we need is those ARPA funds in the residents' possession to get those roofs, those furnaces, and those windows because that money was allocated for those reasons. And how dare local government decide that the residents can't have it? So I will commit myself to whatever ARPA dollars are left to getting those to the residents because it matters.
Well, I think also that the ARPA, what ARPA dollars are left, but we also have to determine. You guys have to figure out once you are in office how much there is left. I mean, there's just another thing that I want to also to um to stress about you is you are have been transparent when you were on the school board. You were transparent
Yes.
about the money. You fought for the people and for what's right and making sure that they do the right thing. So you have a proven record of making sure, as they say in the streets, making sure the bag is accounted for.
And that's right. That's right, because it's important to have accountability. We are in the situation we are in because of misrepresentation. Let's be clear. The money is here, just like Detroit is beautifying and Saginaw is beautifying. There's no reason why Flint shouldn't be beautifying, other than the fact that we have so many people that sit in these public positions that are serving themselves. And I just want to make it clear that I'm going to be dedicated to serving the public. If you vote for me, then I'm going to represent you. It matters. It matters.
That's right. And by the way, Carol does not have a 501c3.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm working hard for mine. I am a 28-year uh, auto worker, UAW member. I am proud of that because I work for my money and I'm willing to work for you too. I feel like if I get the money to the residents, which is the mass, then I'll be okay. But first and foremost, we have to take care of the least of these, our seniors that are on fixed incomes, who have paid for their homes and have kept their properties as best they could. I think we owe it to them, especially when our federal government has given us the dollars for them, for that purpose. I don't feel your local government should decide to extradite those dollars and send them elsewhere. They were for the people, and the people deserve them. We've been through so much around here. So I think getting those dollars to the community, fighting this blight situation, which ultimately uh, leads to crime because it offers so many avenues where crime can take place. We have to do something about that. So I know Mr. Mays was adamant about those things and getting those things done. And I just want to be clear. Like I said, I am a 52 year resident of the first ward, but my mom also stays in the first ward. Okay. And I have family members that stay in the first ward. So I think that if we're going to be truly if we're going to be public servants, then we have to put the public first. And I'm definitely dedicated to doing that.
Yeah. I have some relatives over in the first ward over on Alma and on Holbrook Street. And
Yes.
I need you to take care of them and make sure that they are taken care of. But
Oh, yeah.
I definitely entrust you in their hands. So Carol, I want to talk about a few things. Like we talked about your goals for your platform, but what are some other things that you do? We talked about the ARPA funds, but First Ward has a few challenges, and so let's talk about some of those things that we have, that the challenges that the First Ward has, and what you plan on doing to get those challenges or handle those challenges.
Well, like I said, we have to get this blight under control. We have to get these vacant houses torn down. I think it is detrimental that on top of getting the ARPA funds to the community, which is the seniors especially and our families with small children, I think that handling our blight and then dealing with our crime issues, because that's what makes a community undesirable when you have crime that's going through the roof. And it definitely needs to be public safety a public safety plan in place to do those things. I mean, we can't just shoot from the hip. We have to be strategic, and we have to be intentional when we're dealing with our community and what way we want to see our community go and shape up. If we want it to get better, we have to make it better. But first of all, we have to deal with our um, federal government, okay, and we have to deal with our state elected officials and make sure that they're working for us. I think Joe Biden did an amazing job. He got 150 million to our public school district, and he got those ARPA dollars to Flint. But unfortunately, our local government has let us down. And but what I can tell you is 5 votes can make all the difference, and I'm that fifth vote that will work for you diligently. Like I said, this is not my first time in a public service position, and I know what it takes. And sometimes you have to stand alone. But I think with this group, the only thing City Council has lacked is the power of 5 votes, and I think that will make all the difference. And I'm telling the community, I am here for you. I will represent you as I always have. You will come first. I will not be trying to extradite dollars to myself personally. That's not what I'm there for. Also, we have to look at that 600 million that was allocated for us for the water crisis. How come the residents haven't received that? That can pay some water bills. That because uh, the city's budget can't afford to pay for the residents' water bills. I think we're right at 50 something million. I'm not sure about what their budget is, but I know it's not 80 million, which is what we would need to pay everybody's water bill. However, we have 600 million. 80 million is what it would take to pay everybody's water bill. But we have 600 million sitting in that water crisis settlement fund. And I think it's time that we start getting those dollars dispersed to the residents. We need to ask the hard questions and do the hard work. And I'm committed to doing that.
Well, and Carol, I do want to also talk about the fact that wasn't, if I'm not correct, wasn't there like $47 million worth of interest on that? I mean, that's we halfway there.
Yeah, yeah, you got interest building up. And
Hmm.
but like I said, in order to get those dollars to us, we have to have people that are willing to go after those dollars, because they're not going to just turn them over to us. We're 10 years in this water crisis, okay? We're 10 years in. It's no reason why we should not have been able to correct our issues by now, other than the fact that um, our local government is just not working for the people. And I am committed to doing that. And we also have an issue with our infrastructure, because the state is putting some demands on the city. And our infrastructure has to be addressed. The country's infrastructure is going to be addressed. And I don't want us to be left out of that like we're left out of the ARPA situation, and it just is not making sense. So we need to make sure we have some checks and balances and see what that budget is looking like to get that work done. So much is needed. Much is needed. And I'm knowing that the first ward is 90% black, which doesn't matter. I don't care what color you are. I will fight for you and I will represent you. But I'm seeing that we are being left out. Okay. These officials, these public officials and elected officials, they come to talk to us when it's election time, but when it's time to um, stand up, and I'm speaking about our state people now. When it's time to do the work that needs to be done, I find that we are left on our own. But that's okay. But I'll go down the list and ask them. I'll meet them at those meetings and ask them about our money. If I'm elected, I don't have a problem with that, and I don't have a problem with them being mad at me as long as I'm doing the right thing and representing you. And I'm definitely committed and dedicated to doing just that.
Um, I know recently there's been an article from Scripps. Have you had a chance to review that article from Scripps where Congressman Kildee laid a blistering, and I'm going to say blistering, uh, commentary on what was going on in Flint as far as the monies that have been sent here that have not been applied properly from our local government. And he's basically said, I did what I my part. I got the money to you, or I got the money to the community, and our local
Right.
government didn't do what it was supposed to do.
And I think it's some accountability that needs to be dealt with on that level too, because who is our elected officials to take dollars that federal and state officials have allocated to the community and reroute them to nonprofits? And understand, let's just be clear, several of our city council people do have nonprofits and have received those ARPA dollars. So now we have people that are voting
Mm-hmm.
for themselves to
It's
receive
his money.
public dollars that are allocated to the residents. These are people you voted for to represent you, and then they get those positions and they represent themselves. And that's the problem when you vote for people that you think you know. Okay.
I think it's the audacity of the whole situation that bothers me the most. And I agree with you on the appalling of how this is being handled, but it's the audacity that they have taken this money that was allocated from the residents. And I even remember the fourth ward person saying that that money was not for the residents. Well, if it wasn't for the residents, then sweetheart, who was it for?
Evidently, it was for the nonprofits in Flint, but every other city seems to think that those dollars were for the residents. Because, like I said, uh, Detroit is slated to do 2,000 houses, and they've already done 500. On the 1420 side, we are getting ready to close out. So let me close that out right quick. I want to thank you for listening to a community conversation. Again, this has been an amazing Friday. As always, whenever I can spend it with you, I'm asking that you vote for Carol McIntosh for the first ward city council seat. If you live in the first ward, I will represent you. I will make you proud, and you will get what is rightfully yours. Thank you for tuning in, and I'd like to hear you or see you back next week. Thank you. And again, love yourself and love somebody else. Be blessed. And now I'm back with you on our ATN side stuff.
Thanks for coming back in and joining us here. So,
Yeah,
Carol, I want to talk to you more about your relationship with the late great Councilman Eric Mays,
great. Great he was, honey.
and some of the things that he imparted in, or shared with you about like his vision and some of the things that you guys talked about, as far as with the vision for the first ward.
Well, Mr. Mays was all about getting those blue tarps off the roof. And I've been going through the first ward, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful when it doesn't have to be like that. So, and I understand where he was coming from. He and I always talk politics. Like I said, he kind of guided the direction that I'm on now, the path that I'm taking now to stand up for the residents. He often said, the least of these, we have to represent for them. That's our old people and our children. So, and he wanted to get those ARPA dollars to the community, and he was also dealing with some issues concerning the land bank, trying to get affordable housing for the community. These houses, when they're abandoned, they're in nice shape, and then you see the land bank just sit on them and then let them just deteriorate, and I feel like it's dropping the property value.
Yeah.
Um, so something needs to be done about that. And I don't know if it's getting rid of the land bank or just speaking with the land bank and coming up with a new way of doing things that will benefit the residents as well as the city, because there's no reason why nice homes that were livable were left to just decline like that. And now you want to sell them and it costs $1 million, $1 trillion to get them fixed up when you could have had responsible residents in there taking care of those homes, keeping our community nice. So I would love to explore some of our land bank issues and our housing issues that we are having, because as you may know, rent is going up all around the country. Apartments cost more than a mortgage now. I think that's terrible because usually single people are in apartments,
Hmm.
women who don't want to do upkeep. And I just think it's a shame when an apartment is more than a mortgage. And these people usually don't have the means, maybe don't have the credit score, maybe have been through some divorces or hardships. I just don't think pricing out our residents, the people that we ask to support us and we ask to represent, deserve this. So I'm going to have to look at that. And Mr. Mays um, was often speaking with me about that, trying to get affordable housing, um, the ARPA funds, the blight, the crime issues. All of those things can be addressed and can be fixed. We just have to have the will and people that are willing to participate on behalf of the community. We have to make sure that the community comes first. There is no elected officials without voters.
Okay, Carol, and also, just wanted to also um, kind of highlight the fact that you have been an elected official in a citywide capacity because you were voted in on the school board, so you understand the dynamics of like um, budgeting and expenditures and all of those things that go with operations of a large entity. I think sometimes when people run for offices and things like that, if they don't have experience with those types of things, it gets overwhelming. And I think those are some of the challenges that we are facing with some of our critical thinkers that we have in office right now. Ooh, was that a
Yes.
shade shot? Yes, it was. But
Well, here's the deal, Stephanie. You're absolutely right. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. First of all, I want to say when I was on the school board, we came out of a deficit, the deficit program that they put you in when you're not doing what you're supposed to do with the finances. The state comes in and oversees you. Uh, Debt elimination plan is what they call it. We were in a debt elimination plan, and while I was there, we were able to come out of that debt elimination situation. So um, I do want to highlight that. And a lot of people don't realize that the school district's budget is bigger than the city's budget. Okay. Education is big money. So we cannot afford on the city level to just blow our dollars. We can't spend them frivolously. We have to take care of the business, because eventually, if you don't take care of the business, your business will take care of you. And that's unnecessary because we've received the dollars. We just have to get the people that care enough about the community to do what is necessary to benefit the city as far as those dollars are concerned. And I'm committed to that. I just don't see I'm just not into rerouting the situation. The public matters, the people matters, the taxpayers. The taxpayers are should be our top concern. If you ask me, if you're sitting in a political or a public service I'll say public service because I don't do politics, I do public service. If you are sitting in a public service capacity, the main thing you have to do is watch the money because nothing happens without dollars. Let's just be clear. No services will be given to you for free. These people want to know how things will be financed. And you have to look at that when you're planning your budget. You can't just be making up numbers and throwing stuff out there like it's pie in the sky. You have to really look at the money and look at the expenditures.
Can down the road.
Right. I mean, and that's how you get in situations like what we are in, kicking the can down the road. There's no reason why our water situation should still be the same as it was 10 years ago. That's just sheer ignorance, especially when the last administration left out with 90% of the work done. I feel like that is grossly negligent as far as I'm concerned. Uh, to do your residents like that because drinking water is not a privilege. It is a necessity.
Mhm.
It is a for any living thing to survive. It needs water. That means plants, grass, people, animals. How will you have living things, living entities if you're not concerned about your drinking water, your infrastructure, your crime, your blight? You have to be concerned about those things just to make your community safe and livable and tolerable. You will not get new people coming into your community with new business ideas. You will not get young families moving into your community if you're not addressing these things.
Yeah, absolutely right. Uh, so Carol, I want to also discuss your campaign, and your slogan for your campaign. Explain
Yeah.
that. Explain that to us, and give us a little more detail on how you came up with that.
Because when you get into politics and for whatever reason, it just always falls apart. I know the reason, but it's up to us as public servants to be aware of the situation. It's not personal, it's not political, it's public service, and that's the bottom line. I can get mad at you, I could not stand you, but if we're going to work for the people, if we're going to do this work, then we got to put the personals aside. Personal beef has no place in the boardroom, at the city council table, when you're making decisions for the taxpayers. You got to be big enough to put those things aside. I promise you that I will never let a personal grudge stop me from doing what is best for you, the taxpayers. It's not personal. It's not political because I don't consider myself a politician, even though it is politics at the end of the day. I'm in it for the public service. That's what it is for me. I want to see my neighbor living their best life. I want to see my community beautiful. I want to see a crime free community. I want to see our kids safe enough to be able to ride their bikes down the street again without getting ran over or without getting human traffic and things of that nature. It's sad that there's no kids outside. I remember growing up in the first ward, and we'd have the whole street locked down. We were out there playing touch football, kickball, baseball, having races, playing double dutch in the street. And it's just not safe to do that anymore. And it's sad. It's sad. And I think we as public servants, we have to get back to doing just that, serving the people, putting the people first, putting their needs first, listening to what it is that is most concerning to them. Because in my opinion, there is no us without them. I don't just want to be pleasing to you at election time. I want you to be happy with the kind of service that I render you. And when I'm gone, I want you to say, "Hey, I understand what she was doing." I want you to understand while I'm doing the work. That's just the bottom line because when this is all said and done, I plan on still living in the first ward. My house is paid for. I don't plan on going anywhere.
I I I I
Well, let me rephrase that because I do plan on retiring. I do plan on snowbirding it.
You swear.
I
I
plan on
was about to say we go
yeah.
snowbird.
Yes, I do. I have two residents. Mississippi is my second home, and that's where I am now. And see this beautifulness. Hear how peaceful that is. Mississippi is the poorest state in the nation. Why are they in better shape than us? It's appalling. It's appalling. It's no reason. It's no reason for it. So I just know that there's work to do, and I'm up for the challenge.
And I do, to piggyback on what you were saying, Carol. I agree with you. I grew up. We went to school together, but she grew up in the first ward. I grew up in the seventh ward. Well, what's the seventh ward area now? And there was community then, and I don't think we have. There's no community in community right now. I think it's just it's not the same city. I would love to see this council bring Flint back to the days of I know we'll never get back to the GM glory days, but some semblance or resemblance of what we used to be. But I digress on that. That's another show.
Well,
Um,
let me say this though, since you did say that, GM is pumping billions into truck and bus. They have a complex on Bristol Road and Van Slyke that they're heavily investing in. So we have to think about what's to come too. There's a reason why people want us to leave. Okay. I do believe that there's a plan for Flint to turn around. Now, if it'll ever be great as it was when we grew up, I'm like you. I don't know about all that, but it can be good. But we just have to have, yes, we have to have the people that are dedicated to seeing it in that light. And, you know, people come into your community with all these grand plans and doing things, but are they committed to being here when it gets rough? Are they committed to hanging around? Just like they came, they can go. Um, and I just think we deserve better.
and we do, and we do. I Carol, I want to also touch on a subject right now too. That's it's the information is trickling out slowly, but it is trickling out, and it's not good. It's this administrative consent order. Um, we've Tell me your thoughts on this consent order and how it's being handled, and just on in general. We've touched on it a little bit, but we haven't touched on the actual order. So, kind of just give me your thoughts on how this was handled, and some of the things that you see that probably can be done better with making trying to rectify this. If it can be rectified at this point, this uh, mess that has been made. I guess is the only way to describe it.
Well, first of all, the word, just the naming of it, administrative order. Okay, administrative order. If you are in
Administrative
a
order,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you're in an administrative position, then you shouldn't be ordering anything. You should be talking to the people that you serve and seeing what their needs are and trying to meet those needs. That's just the bottom line in any governmental situation. We have to stop electing people that are moving on their own will, trying to get things, personal things for themselves. You know, I think when you deal in public service, that's exactly what it should be. You need to be serving the public. They need to be included in all those type of conversations. Okay. I don't think you need to be putting anything in stone and you haven't heard from the people. You can't just go out on your own and just do what you want to do, especially when you've never done these things before. So you don't know if they're going to be fruitful for the community or not. You have to make sure that whatever you're doing and whatever you're deciding, it's the best decision for the people, for the people, by the people. I think that should be the rule of law in any governing situation. It should always be to make it better for the people.
Absolutely. So, Carol, I wanna first of all, let me just say this. Look, stop right quick commercial break. If you are enjoying the content that we have today on ATM Media, like, share, and also hit that cash app to
That's right.
ATM Media so we can keep continuing having programs like this. Okay.
Yes,
Back to my
yes.
commercial break. So, Miss Carol, question for you. What can you bring to the first ward council seat to city council? What as the first ward representative, what can you bring to the council that's unique? What
First of all, I'm going to bring honesty, transparency, and integrity. That's the first thing I'm bringing. Okay. And then I'm going to bring that fifth vote that they need to make things shake for the people, for the community. Um, the people that want to serve, they just don't have the votes. That's important. And you have to get somebody. See, you can't get these people who are over here today and then they're over there tomorrow based off who is over there, because maybe their friend is over there or whomever is over there. I'm just really not interested in that type of leadership. I am dedicated to being the fifth vote for the people, to serve the residents, to get the work done for the people, to get the dollars to the people, to get the local government to respect the voice of the people. And it's just that simple. And that's what I've always done. As you know, that our ethics and accountability board meetings are on YouTube, as well as the school board meetings. So you can Google my past meetings and follow my work. I've been consistent. I don't change. I'm not going along to get along. I don't. That's not what I do, and that's not what I'm here for. Like I said, I don't have a nonprofit, so it's no reason. Even if I had a nonprofit, though, that's just not the type of leader I want to be. So we have to make sure that whomever we select, you got to know who you're selecting. That's how we got jammed up with, as you said, these critical thinkers, and selling off public city parks that you have paperwork saying you could never sell it. And now because you have 5 votes, you decided that you don't have to hold up to an agreement that was made however long ago. An agreement is an agreement. And just because you have new leadership, you should still be governed by agreed upon contracts in that time. Because if that's the case, we are in trouble because we're heading for a dictatorship. Whenever you can make a deal, sign paperwork, and depending on who is in office, those terms can change. We are in trouble. We are in trouble. And I think that we have to stop that. We have to stop allowing our public officials to stand in our faces and do their own will. Vote for the which is unlawful for you to be voting for yourself to
Mm-hmm.
receive federal dollars. Okay, that's the first thing. Wide open breaking the law. We have to have people with integrity that are willing to follow the rules and play by the rules. Okay? You have to be serious about doing what is right because that's the only way this process is going to ever benefit the resident, the taxpayers, the working class, the least of these, our seniors that are on fixed incomes. Those things are set up prior to for a reason. And then you get these new people that don't even understand government, thinking they could just willy nilly and do their own thing. And it's hurting us. It's hurting us as a people, as taxpayers, and as residents, and as a city, in my opinion.
Um, Carol, I want to go. I want to go back a little bit. Because I did have some notes here and I missed my note on this. So I'm
Right.
sorry. I want to go back on one thing that I did miss on. We didn't discuss like the service lines and the pump stations and the replacement that we need, because right now we need the estimate that I saw was $200 million.
Okay. I accidentally came out of the
The
podcast.
thing,
What was the
okay, no,
question?
no, I was saying about the pump, the service. We were talking about the administrative consent order and the service lines, and I
Yes.
forgot the one question that I had about that I wanted to go over with you about, like with the pump stations
Yes.
and the replacement, and it's for all intents and purposes, figures have been thrown out. The one figure that sticks in my mind was $200 million. Where are we going to get that money from? Or
Well,
I
well, it's like Mr. Jerry said. We have to leverage those dollars on the federal level and on the state level. We have to go in and let them know what we need. We have to, first of all, we have to be good stewards of the dollars we have. Okay, because between, and in my opinion, with this $600 million water settlement, is no reason why you shouldn't be able to take 200 million of those dollars and rectify the issue that is the reason you have these 600 million dollars. Who goes into a lawsuit, wins the lawsuit, and doesn't address the issue? That
Well,
was the whole point
whole
in,
point.
in having a lawsuit, to make this right with the residents and the people, the taxpayers, the consumers. So if you're not going to use those 600 million, and this is my thing too, I'm concerned that we're going to mess around and allow the government, uh, the governmental people, our voted on selected people, to keep changing. And the further we get away from the situation, I'm afraid those dollars are going to get away from us as well. Because with each new group, especially if they're inexperienced, you
Mhm.
lose knowledge, which makes it easier for those who have a plan to fleece those dollars, to ride off into the sunset. And by the time they figure out how this thing works, it's all too late.
Yeah, they're gone. Because I mean, tech is actually right now at this point from the water. The only thing that we really received is $300, and that wasn't
And
from
that,
the water settlement. That was MARPA funds.
and see, and to me, that was terrible, because our local government, uh, our local government, should be asking about that 600 million as well, so that we can get new pipelines and things of that nature. I just don't, I'm not understanding what's going on. But if I get in that situation, I guarantee you I will make sure I understand, and I will share that information with the public. Um, like I said, I think those $200 million should come out of the water settlement fund. But that's just my opinion. That's just my critical thinking.
our our state officials um, are appointed. Well, our representatives to the state. I think are not being held accountable. Our reps and our senators, we have reps and we have state senators that are here that are it's crickets. We're not hearing anything, and I think the people are not being vocal or not applying pressure. We're not applying any pressure. We just
Right,
letting it go,
right,
and I think that's not a good thing. And I think that they need to be held accountable for not saying anything. I mean, when we were little kids, and you got in trouble with your mama because you didn't tell something, it was the same
right,
thing as if you told a lie. You didn't.
right. I mean, because they're the same. You withhold the
Yeah,
information because you don't want to tell the truth. The bottom line, accountability is for everybody,
yeah.
in my opinion. Okay. And I used to say that all the time when I was sitting in another public capacity. I used to tell my team, hey, it's for everybody. It is. Accountability is for everybody. You ask for the position, now you have to do your job. Okay. And a lot of times people don't know, but I think it's your responsibility to find out. If you don't know, you have to find out, because the people are depending on you, and you ask them to trust you to do so. And so with that comes accountability. Okay.
You're absolutely right. You and I
So
have
so
done. Oh, go on. I'm sorry. Go on
no,
ahead.
no. So we have to hold those people responsible, and we have to remember that when we go to the poll, how did they serve us prior to? Were they working on behalf of my best interest, your best
They
interest?
working for
You
us or
know,
they working against us?
that's right. We can't keep saying, well, we gonna give them a chance. No, no, I'm not gonna give you a chance if I don't know you can do the work. No, I'm not going to give you a chance
You
if
have
I don't know
proven
you're gonna
that
stand.
you're not going to do it.
That's right. If you're not going to stand strong for me, if I'm not sure that you're going to stand strong for me, I can't vote for you, because I have to have somebody that is going to really stand in there and do the work and get those dollars and get them extradited to the community, and to the people that need it most. And when our local government, state, federal people are not doing that, then there's going to always be a breakdown in the process.
um. So Carol, you and I um did a little tour. Well, we drove around the first ward. Just I know you live in the first ward, but we did a little tour. Just riding around and just kind of maybe identifying some areas that we don't normally go to. I mean, just
Right.
look, just because you need to go through and see what's going on and taken care of. And we talked to some residents. You got some amazing residents in your area. And I look at some of the homeowners that are still there. They still standing tall. They still
Cutting their grass and keeping
cutting
their
their,
lawns nice.
keeping
But
their grass nice, and then it kind of was disheartening. I remember one place in particular. The lady had a beautiful home. She had gotten the adjacent lot next to her and had nice,
yes,
big, nice. I want that fence myself.
it was nice, wasn't it? It
Yeah.
was nice.
And
Yes.
then next door to her was a
Blight.
mess. A
Yes.
land. It wasn't a It was a land bank house. And
Yes. And yeah, we got to hold them responsible because one thing about it, if a resident's grass is waist high, they want to come out and cut your grass and send you a bill. And I know that for a fact because I've been a victim of that. I had a house and I was getting my grass cut every 2 weeks, but it had rained and the grass had kind of grew up. And they saw that I was paying the taxes and they shot out there and cut my grass and tried to send me this old astronomical bill. And no, sir, no, ma'am, no green eggs and ham. Especially when the house 2 doors down, grass is 5 times taller than mine. You know,
yeah,
so that's an issue. That's an issue. We can't. I don't see how we can expect the residents to stay on
exactly.
top of theirs. But here we have the land bank, a state, the
Mhm.
Michigan State Land Bank, a state entity, is being allowed to cut grass once a year, but yet you're hoarding all of the properties.
They're
See,
hoarding the
issues like
prop. Yeah, go on ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
issues like issue. No, you're fine. Issues like that, they need to be addressed, and the only person who's going to do that is the residents. We have to, and our leadership, our local leadership. I think our city council people can stand up and say something about that too. But we have to include our residents because I think they're tired of that. I mean, you're working to make your house beautiful, keep your grass cut, but then you got 3, 4, 5 feet of grass next door to you. That's a breeding ground for mosquitoes, rodents.
Critters.
Next, yep. And the next thing you know, the door is kicked open, and
Mhm.
God only knows what's going on then, because we know the history of our crime situation here, and we can do something about that. That we can handle those issues better. We can get those houses knocked down. Because I remember there were construction companies actually going around with a list of vacant houses that had to be torn down. I've seen one or two come down, but
You know what? I guess the part that bothers me is I look at some of those houses and I don't think they necessarily need to be torn down. They're back when some of those houses were built, they had some good bones to them. I
yes,
Because the land bank is sitting on them and not
allowing yep,
allowing them to be
allowing to
taken
them
care
to
of.
further
Yeah, they can do
deteriorate.
something.
Yeah. When
But
it's
if
people that
they
would fix those houses and could be loving on those homes and bringing our community back. And I don't think this is by chance. I think this was a very calculated plan to drop our property values and get our residents to go away. But that's just my thinking. I don't have any evidence of that. But when you're only cutting the grass once a year and you're not making sure that they're boarded up, because if it was your vacant house and you're a taxpayer, they're gonna get
Mhm.
on you when your house ain't boarded up properly. They're gonna get on you about your grass. They own you, own you, own you. But yet the city is allowing the land bank to come into our community and do business in this manner. And I just don't think it's acceptable.
Well, I've never been a fan of the land bank. I so I'm gonna. I've just never been a fan of it. I've never understood how you could take the land from somebody, sell the land, and then if you're taking the land from the citizens or from taxpayers, selling the land, and then the taxpayers don't get, where's that money going?
I have no idea, but I now I can't say this. I did get an opportunity to speak with um, some higher ups on the land bank. At this time, this gentleman was new, and I don't remember his name, so I won't tell any stories. But I do remember him. telling me how they weren't turning some of these houses over to the residents, but in the same breath, he said they were depending on residents to kind of keep the grass cut because like that's how I found out they only cut the properties once a year. Each house they're going to cut it once a year. And we know that that just will not suffice. That is not proper. And I
Well,
don't think they do that in other cities. I think because of our demographics and the predominance of the residents, I think we get less than suitable service. And I think we have to hold them responsible. And I am also willing to do that. I don't have a problem. If you're saying this is what you do, you're an entity, you're collecting all these dollars in the name of whomever and blah, 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 and you're navigating this process. And I think it's our responsibility to hold them accountable and responsible to do just that.
I've noticed that in viewing some of the city council meetings that there have been a couple of people that have come down there and voiced their concerns. They were taking care of properties that were adjacent to them, and then were, from all intents and purposes, I think they were told that those properties they would be given first opportunity on those properties, and the properties were then subsequently sold from up under them without their
Yeah,
knowledge. And
yeah, and
it's a disheartening thing when I mean, gas is high. They're spending their time, they're spending their effort to clean up properties and things like that. I have a family member, bless her heart, she's gone to glory now, but she was she had a house on Patterson Street, and she would be one of the she bought adjacent properties and kept them up and things like that. And that's hard. I mean, as a single woman, it's hard for me to keep especially when I had my house in Flint, I lived on a busy street. So
yes,
so I was picking up trash every day. Don't let it be the weekend, Patron bottles, Popeyes boxes, all kind of
yes,
stuff.
yes.
So
And
it's
you know what yeah, it is. And you know what I also think, Stephanie? I think we could do better. I think we could because the city was supposed to get surveillance for our communities to fight crime. You know, I talked to some residents who feel like they need speed bumps on their streets because
hard.
people are coming down residential streets like they are on the freeway. Okay? Let's be clear. If somebody's driving like that and they hit somebody, chances are they're not going to stop. Um, that's sad. That's sad that people can get away with the things they get away with in our city. And like I said, there's no accountability. So I would like to see some surveillance cameras going up. You know, that would stop some of this. A lady on Barber Drive, an older lady, I spoke about this on this podcast, was coming home, pulled in her driveway, and some little young whippersnappers pulled in behind her. This lady is 80 plus years old, home is paid for, on a fixed income, and they pulled in her driveway like they lived there too, blocked her in and robbed her in broad daylight in her own driveway. Luckily, some of her neighbors had the ring cam and they
Mhm.
were able to get the car on their ring cam. And I do, to my understanding, those people were caught. But can you imagine how she's feeling
She's
about being at home now? She afraid. She don't feel safe in her own home anymore. You know, and it's unfortunate because she's paid her taxes, she's paid her house off, she's minding her business, and she ought to be able to leave her home and come back without somebody robbing her or taking advantage of her. See, this is the least of thee that I am speaking of. We have to protect our elderly people. We have to protect our children. We got to do better. Because other cities are doing better. So it's not like it can't be done. Like I said, I am holding our local officials responsible for much of this. But we also have to put people in place that will do the work, that is willing to speak up, that is willing to even stand alone, be transparent, you know, and understand that everybody is not able to put a new roof on their house. There's so much plastic. Yeah, we did do that tour, and it was we saw a lot of plastic on windows and a lot of tarps on roofs. I mean, and then some people don't even have furnaces.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of issues here in the city. And with the infrastructure city, I know at one point, if the sewage system was overflowing, they was allowing that to back up in people's homes at one point.
Yeah,
Okay?
exactly.
In your basement.
Yeah,
and then you're left holding the bag for that, or your insurance company, but they weren't going to pay for it. That's not acceptable for you to destroy my house because your sewer system is not in appropriate operable functioning position, and so now your solution is to tax me. I can't afford that. I can't be
we
responsible for the infrastructure
have a
situation.
we definitely have a crumbling infrastructure, and I think the area, the one thing that struck me a little bit, I guess I knew, but it was in my face when we were driving around. We have a large population of elderly retirees here.
Yes,
We
yes.
have a, and we are not taking care of our retirees and our elderly. We are not doing
The
them
least of thee, the
We are
least, and that
not
is so
doing them a
sad.
good job. We are not taking care. We are not taking care of our elders. And I even look down at the city council meetings that we do have, and
That's
it's
who
people
be
in
there.
that you should see those. That's who's fighting.
Yeah, that's who. Yes, and
That's
those
who's
are your
fighting.
voters. I thought back
Mhm.
to the gentleman on on Brownell Street, who said he's lost several residents, several neighbors to cancer, and now
Mhm.
he's suffering from cancer. And it was voted on at the city council table that they were going to do special water testing for them, and that was what 2 years ago or so,
Heard that enough.
and ain't nothing happened yet. And that's another problem we have. That's another problem we have. Things that are voted on that benefit the residents never come to fruition. But all these big, deep, all these greedy people, all these companies that come in and want all these dollars, they come in, they get a vote, and all of a sudden things is moving and shaking. But when the taxpayers and the residents get a vote, they just ignore it and act like it didn't happen, and they don't act on it. And then the next thing you know, 2 or 3 years has gone by. We have to hold ourselves, our leadership, our representatives, our voted in elected officials responsible. We have to make sure that the things that we vote on and the things that are allocated to our people get to the people. We have to make sure that we're not just a dummy board voting. Like I said, I've seen it. I've seen it on every board I sit on. You vote for something good for the residents, nothing ever moves or shakes. But the minute these big wigs come in and they get their 2, 3, $4 million uh, contracts and get those votes, all right, right now today, that's a top priority. We have to get back to making the residents,
A
our
priority.
seniors, yes, the least of these, our families with young children, they have to be the priority. Okay, they've got to be. I don't see how you and then like I said, that's walking through my ward, mostly they're retirees.
Yep.
And the ones that are young is because
Their
God forbid
parents
they've
left them
lost.
a house or something like
Yeah.
that. Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. And
They're Yep, they're
it's
getting
sad.
their properties from deceased relatives or things like that. They're not really putting an investment in on their own to the into the community, but the house grandma left them the house, so they staying there, whatever. And um, that struck me. Like I said, it was something that I knew, but you know how when it gets in your face it becomes real, and that was one of the things that was very real to me when we were out, that we've got some and God bless them. No, they worked hard all their lives, and they really work hard at taking care of their properties and things like that. But then you get some of the people that they have, like some of the elderly people that we see now, they're getting older, and they have, I look at my mom. They're starting to have health challenges and things, and a lot of the things that they used to do, they can't do. And we don't have any, there needs to be something to fill that gap in, for
Well,
those people.
what we need to do, like I said, there's all kind of policies and legislation in place. We have to make sure that we're
There
executing on their behalf.
absolutely.
Like I said, somebody on Social Security or fixed income, they can't get no 15, $20,000 roof. I don't think they can probably afford that. And unfortunately, it is late in the day for them. So getting out there and getting another job, is just not an option due to the health issues. We saw people on oxygen, and it's sad that the local government is forsaking the people. So I'm asking for your support. My name is Carol McIntosh. Our voting day is August 6th. I'm asking to be your voice in the first ward. I promise you, I will not neglect you. I will not sell you out. I will not turn my back on you. I will definitely pick up where the late councilman Eric Mays left off, fighting for those ARPA dollars, fighting against that crime, fighting blight. And I'm also dedicated and committed to looking into what our next move is going to be concerning getting this water together, because we're looking at a 33% water hike, I'm hearing, for some water that I can't even drink. And we already have some of the highest water rates in the country as it is. No, sir. No,
Can't,
ma'am.
can't drink, and it's getting to the point where I'm wondering if you should be bathing in it.
Exactly, because you don't know if you put those poisons on detrimental areas, how it will affect you.
Your
you know
body,
and
biggest.
then your skin is porous. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know if this is going into your pores, and it's just so sad that this experiment has gone on this long, because in my mind, the only reason for it is they're waiting on all of us to maybe pass on or move away so that they can fleece that 600 million like they've done those opera dollars. So we have
Tuskegee,
to get.
Tuskegee experiment on steroids. Mhm.
Man. So, like I said, the money is, a lot of the dollars are available to us. We're just not getting them because we don't have five people that care enough about the community sitting at that city council table making the decisions on behalf of the people. I promise you, because it's 456, or is it 458? I'll never wear them glasses. I promise you, I'm gonna get some glasses too. I'm gonna get some glasses just for you. But I promise you that I'll be. Yeah, it's six. I promise you that I will be dedicated and committed to doing what is best for the first ward, the residents of the city. Uh, I promise you that I will be transparent. I will operate from an ethical position. I will fight for you. I represent you. If you give me your vote, I promise you, you will not be sorry. And I promise you that I am the fifth vote to make it happen for our residents. Like I said, I am a lifelong resident of Flint. No matter what happens, I want to see Flint thrive. I don't plan on selling my house. I plan on keeping my home. My mother also lives in the first ward. So I will be rooted in the first ward, period. And I am committed to doing what is best for us as a community. And I am promising you that I will stand with you and I will put your needs first. My name is Carol McIntosh. I'm a candidate for the first ward. I am a 52-year member of the first ward, and I am the only person running for the first ward seat that has ever been elected to position. I understand the budgeting. I understand how to get those dollars to the people. And if you give me your vote, I guarantee you I will continue to operate from that capacity. Anything else you want to say to me, Steph?
I do not. I just encourage everyone out to get out and vote for Carol. She is a true champion of the people, and what you see is what you get. So there
Yes,
you
sir.
go. It's not political. It's not personal. It's public service.
Yes, it is. All day, every day. That's what it's all about. So I thank you for giving me your eyes and your ears. I thank you for supporting A10 News Media Group. Click, like, share. Continue to support us. Also, continue to listen to me on 1420 a.m. every Friday at 5 o'clock for a community conversation. As always, it is a blessing to be in your presence. It's a blessing to have you here with me on this podcast. I want you to know I do respect you totally. And I thank you. I thank you for this time. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for lending me your ear. And until next week, peace.
Peace.
All right.